An incredible editorial in today's Globe and Mail about Omar Khadr. Who is Omar Khadr? Well, if you read the Globe and Mail, you would not know that he is a member of Al-Qaeda who has never renounced that membership, that he is a terrorist who is being convicted of war crimes. You wouldn't know that because they didn't tell you that. Here, let me read a few excerpts from this editorial to show you how debased Canada's newspaper of record has become. They say that the trial in Guantanamo Bay that convicted and sentenced Omar Khadr is, quote, a warped legal regime that undermined the most basic ideas of justice. Really? Are they saying that Barack Obama has a warped system of justice? See, both the Republicans and the Democrats have run the Guantanamo Military Commission. It has been approved not once, but twice by the U.S. Supreme Court. That has tweaked the procedures, but it is a real legal system. Omar Khadr had top flight lawyers paid for by the Pentagon. It was an open jury system that had reporters there. But the Globe and Mail is saying that the United States has a legal system comparable to a third world. Now, they don't have any facts in there because they just want to follow Omar Khadr's talking points. They say that in 2010, Khadr pled guilty to murder in violation of the laws of war. Now that is true, but he actually pled guilty to 5 different counts. He is a war criminal. He is a terrorist. But the Globe and Mail doesn't tell you that. See, they have a narrative of Omar Khadr as a little lamb. And to describe to you what he pled guilty to, in painstaking detail what he confessed to describe the videos, the home video propaganda videos of him assembling IEDs, well, that wouldn't fit with the narrative of him being a little lamb, now would it? So that's not in the Globe and Mail's editorial. Here's the worst line in the whole piece. Let me read it to you, the full sentence. Mr. Khadr has been the victim of other people's ideologies for far too long. I like that, Mr. Khadr. At least they're not calling him Your Highness or something like that. He's been the victim for far too long? No, there actually are real victims in the Omar Khadr story. The main victim is Christopher Speer, the U.S. Army medic murdered by Omar Khadr. Christopher Speer's widow, Tabitha Speer, his 2 fatherless children, Taryn and Tanner, Lane Morris, who had one of his eyes blinded by Omar Khadr. They're the real victims, and they're not victims of ideology. They're victims of Omar Khadr's terrorist violence. Here's another lie in the Globe and Mail article. They say that he pled guilty to these offenses, quote, under duress, and that it was, quote, a coerced confession. That's not true either. We have all the evidence. We have his confession. We have the videotapes of him posing with machine guns, assembling IEDs. But more important than any of that, Omar Khadr's own lawyers approved of this. Now, he had so many lawyers, many of them paid by the Pentagon, others paid by who knows whom, but these lawyers have an ethical duty to ensure that their clients not plead guilty under duress. Is the Globe and Mail saying that outstanding, passionate, able, motivated, enthusiastic, smart lawyers like Dennis Edney and Nathan Whitling, that they signed off on a false confession? Does the Globe and Mail know what they're saying? Is the Globe and Mail truly accusing Omar Khadr's legal team, made up of very competent lawyers, of ethically signing off on a lie? No, they're not doing that. I don't think they even know that the lawyers approved of it, and if they did, they're trying to forget it, again, to stick with their narrative. Maybe the Globe and Mail thinks that those videos were faked, just like the moon landing was faked or that 9/11 was an inside job, right, Globe and Mail? One more thing. The Globe and Mail quotes Alberta's Judge June Ross, who granted this bail. They quote her accurately, but they're both wrong when they say Omar Khadr was a model prisoner over 12 and a half years. That's simply not true. As I've told you before, according to testimony at his trial, he was viciously abusive to guards, for not just fomenting little rebellions and mutinies against them, but for example, in the case of one black female guard calling her a bitch and a slave. Of course he did. He's an Al-Qaeda fascist Muslim Nazi. He hates women, and he especially hates black women, especially the concept that a black woman would dare have authority over her. He told another judge that murdering Christopher Speer was the best day of his life. That is simply a fact, but of course you can't put that in a bail ruling that says the man's a model prisoner. You can't put that in an editorial whose narrative is that he's a little lamb. I have one question to leave you with. If the Globe and Mail takes such liberties with the facts about a proven, convicted terrorist that we have on videotape building terrorist bombs, if you cannot rely on them for the facts or good judgment about a real terrorist caught, convicted, can we rely on them for advice and judgment when it comes to catching future terrorists? In Bill C-51, the anti-terrorism law proposed by Stephen Harper. Any newspaper that publishes this editorial rebranding a Paul Bernardo-style murderer as a victim simply cannot be trusted. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.